Everyone knows how to buy a property, right? You go and do your research, you find a property, you get the contract, you get your lawyer or your conveyancer have a look at it for you, you pay your deposit, and basically 6 weeks later you settle and you now own that property. So the thing there is, this is very simple. It's how my grandfather did it and how my father started doing it. You can change the settlement date. So it doesn't have to be 30 days, 60 days, it can be 6 months, whatever your settlement period, but you're locked into that contract from day one. That's a very, very simple form. The next one is a call option. So developers' favourite, absolutely developers' favourite. Why? Because an option is agreeing to buy a parcel of land from someone at some point in the future at an agreed price that you agree today, but you don't have to settle if you don't want to. So the developer has all the power in this deal. Generally, the owner will say, hey, well, look, if you're getting all of that, I want an upfront fee for me to take the risk, which is called an option fee. And that option fee, industry standard is about sort of 1%, but it can go up to 5%. It's just what gets negotiated. So a lot of people want to have a chunk of money. And if you ever meet someone who has had an option over their property with a developer and it's fallen over, they're always upset. So I found one of those property owners just recently. They sold their property for $9,000 a square metre with a call option. The option period expired, the guy walked away. Right now, their land might be worth $5,500 a square metre. So they're absolutely spewing that they missed out on that. But they got a $50,000 option fee up front. So that was their risk scenario. What was interesting, they'd already moved out and were getting ready to spend the money when the developer didn't say, I'm going to settle. And they're going, hey, then they tried to ring him, couldn't get a hold of him. Then the option expired and that was it. All done and dusted. So a call option is great for the developer to be able to walk away. So that particular developer had expectations of the price of the land going through the roof over time, and it was wrong because he optioned that property in late 2017 when we were at the peak, and then the market has come down from then. So from his perspective, he throws away his option fee, but he saved himself millions of dollars. So that's the real advantage of a call option. However, if you've got a landowner who's got a magnificent parcel of land and they don't want you to be able to get away, then we use what we call a put and call option, which is technically a call and put, but for some reason we call it a put and call. It's the same as a call option with some added things. So it's still an option. You still agree a price that you're going to pay in the future. You still, may or may not settle. However, if you do not settle, under the put component, the owner can force you to settle. So it's almost like being locked into a contract for sale. The advantage of this type of thing is basically in New South Wales, you can defer payment of stamp duty. So in New South Wales, we use them because we can defer stamp duty. I think it's different in Victoria, but I'm not sure about Queensland. Development agreements. So I like these. This is another way of acquiring a property. If you do a development agreement with someone, you don't actually ever have to own the land. So you can find a site and say, mate, that's a great property. You go to the owner, and let's say they just won't do an option. They won't give you the option to buy the site. And they want to be, I want to be part of a development. And you go, well, I'll tell you what we'll do, you put your land in, we'll develop on your land, right? And then we'll sell it at the end. So let's say it's apartments. We'll stick to apartments, really simple. Most people understand apartments. So someone puts their land in, building goes on it, you've sold all the apartments, and at the end, you're selling, the property has to be strata titled. So the owner of the land agrees for their property to become strata titled, and then in settlement, as each apartment settles, a component of the money that comes in goes to the landowner. So they get paid an agreed value for their land, and then you might, subject to the terms, as I said up here, terms can be many and varied, you might give them a percentage of profit. So, and it's completely up to you how you do that. But you've got to have that parcel land first, you've got to find them first. So, but you can use a development agreement. So effectively all we're doing is developing on someone else's land. So what's really interesting is that my father started by acquiring sites, buying them and developing them. My father went broke in his 50s because he did some really stupid things as a developer. But after he came out of his bankruptcy, all he ever did was development agreements, and the next one I'm going to show you. And with that, he became a multi-millionaire, right, from the age of 55, between 55 and 70 when he retired. So over 15 years, he'd create millions of dollars using other people's land and other people's money. So it's really interesting. You can do it. If you've got the skills, you can do it. So, you know, when someone goes broke, they may have lost their money, but they haven't lost their mind. That's a very important lesson that, you know, I got out of what Dad went through. It's very interesting. Joint venture. This is the other thing my father used to do. He'd do joint venture. So he'd bring the skill into the joint venture. Somebody else would bring the money. So my father would make it all happen, and joint venture partner would pay. They'd have no skill, but they had capital. So he'd just run it with their money, and then they'd, you know, he'd get paid a fee and get 50% of the development profit. So again, no risk for him. So all you do is you find someone to work with. That could be a landowner, it could be someone with capital, and you do a joint venture with them to then acquire a site, option it, or even do a development agreement. So you can have a joint venture with a development agreement as well. So there's all sorts of ways that we can actually work on creating it. But the landowner can easily be an active partner in this as well.
Hi, this is Steve Chandler. Thank you for watching the video. Please subscribe below for further videos on how to be a property developer. And don't forget to share this video with any of your friends and family who may also want to be a property developer.